Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pop Art Hunter channel. Today I'd like to go into a little bit about NFTs. Some of you might be thinking, what the hell is an NFT? Some of you might be thinking, what the hell is an NFT? Meaning like, I know what it is, but like, what the hell is it actually? Isn't any good? So I want to kind of talk about today. I've been being asked a lot of questions about NFTs. I recently got into, collecting some of the lower end stuff. We're not talking about the $1 million, $10 million, $15 million Bored Apes or any of those types of things. Those little punk guys that you see. We're not talking about those. We're talking about like a little bit lower scale, more consumer grade NFT. And, those are really like the Funko Pop ones. You can get those digital assets. They're also something that can be redeemable. You can also get like, off brands. I mean, they have everything from the Princess Bride to Godzilla, tops, as far as the baseball, you got Hot Wheels, a lot of those types of things. And they're very much of a value that the average consumer can afford. It's not a $15 million Bored Ape. And that is its own type of NFT. They're all the same. They're all digital assets. They all serve the same purpose, but I think there's different levels of NFT collecting. But the real question that I have is it stupid? Is collecting NFTs a dumb hobby? Is it something that people should avoid at all costs? Is it an investment or is it not an investment? Is it something that is just silly? Is it that you really should be collecting physical things and not these digital assets that really are nothing tangible? Well, I think there's a lot of answers to that, but overall, in short, I'm going to sum up and say, do what the hell you want to do. You do you, boo. That's the first thing. I always advocate, when you watch my other videos about collecting animation cells, that whole Animation 101 series I did, many times over the course of that, I talk about collecting as an investment versus collecting for the love of it versus a hybrid of it. And I typically lean towards the hybrid unless you have the financial ability to lean towards just collecting. When you look at something first and foremost as an investment, it's a dangerous prospect because you go into it with a gamble, expecting and putting stake in what you're doing based on that return on investment. If you don't have the expendable income to purchase NFTs or vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or animation cells or stocks in the stock market, if you don't have the expendable income to purchase those things, my recommendation is don't get into it. You don't want to go into something that has a risk associated with it. It's like putting $20 into a lottery ticket or $20 into a slot machine. You are having a risk, and there's sometimes going to be a very low margin of return or a very low rate of return or possibly a low chance of return. If you do get a return, that's great. And that's what we all hope for, but you shouldn't go into it with that expectation. I don't feel that NFTs are any different than any other collectible. How is it different for me to collect Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Hunks of plastic from the 1980s that are probably, got snot and boogers on it from the kids that last played with them if you're a loose collector, or they've collected dust and the plastic has started deteriorating if they're a mint on card figure. How is that any different from collecting something that's digital? Everything ebbs and flows. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a few years ago were like here. And all of a sudden they went, and then they've been going up and up. And eventually they're probably going to go down. At some point, the people who like those Ninja Turtles that have the expendable income you're not going to be around anymore. And those prices are going to drop. It's a supply and demand thing. If you want it, it's going to be worth more depending on how many are available. If it's scarce, it's going to be worth a lot more than if it's abundant. That's just supply and demand. So when you're looking at NFTs, the first thing to think of is, one, does it bring you joy? So like for Funko Pops, as an example, I think they've done a really good job of making it accessible for the general consumer. I mentioned this in other videos. I used to have a Funko Pop collection, ran out of space for it, didn't have enough room. It was kind of overwhelming my house and my life and getting pre-orders and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm going to sell it all. I'm going to move to a different collection. Well, the one nice thing about NFTs is they don't take up any space. I mean, digital space within your wallet, and you might have to stake wax as far as CPU or net or RAM usage and stuff like that. That's a technical thing. We'll get into a different video on the technical aspects of NFTs. However, if you're storing these things, you don't have any sort of physical space storage. You have a digital wallet. So there's no walls that you need to hang the animation cells up on. You can see behind me here, I have all these crates with, you may be able to see it under my Alf here. I've got these like crates of frames, and the frames have posters, and they have different prints in them. They also have animation cells because I've run out of room to display them on the walls. That is a problem with collecting. So if you want something that doesn't have a lot of digital footprint, some people don't have a 5,000 square foot house or something like that. Some people are living in a small apartment and they just want to have some collection. And if it brings you joy, why not collect it? I've mentioned this in my other videos when I collect like a piece of animation art. My hope is that it's going to be worth $1 billion. Okay. But I purchase it under the assumption that I'm going to break even or maybe lose a little bit. Now, if I bought something for $1,000, let's say, and I ended up only making $100 back on it, I would be a little upset. I would be a little sad. I would maybe cry a little bit, not too hard. If I bought something for $1,000 and I sold it for $800 or $700, I would be, maybe not thrilled. I mean, of course, I would love to break even or make money, but I would be okay with that because, again, I have a Templeton cell from Charlotte's Web with the original panoramic Keymaster background, and it's framed beautifully. And every time I walk by it, I get a smile on my face because I remember that movie and I have the nostalgia of that film. And when someone comes over to my house, I can show it to them and I can explain the process of animation art and how that, in the exact setup that it is, was what was taken a photo of to be put on a screen that you watched as a kid. The enjoyment that I've gotten out of that piece, I feel, is worth that $200 to $300 that I lost from selling it at that point. Because at that point, I'm just passing along to somebody else to enjoy. But that $200 to $300 is something that I'm okay with losing because I feel that the 10 years or 20 years or whatever that I own it, I spend just as much money getting, a drink or having dinner or, going out to a movie or any of those other random things. And so if I break even on it, I'm thrilled. And if I make money, it's icing on the cake. So that's how I look at NFTs. If you find an NFT that you think it's fun and you really like it, get it. The one thing about Funko that they've done is they've actually sort of gamified it a little bit where if you collect, just like digital trading cards, when you were a kid, you got the physical trading cards, you open the pack, you open it up, you get some random stuff, you can trade it, you can buy it, you can sell it. That's what it's like with Funko. And they also have redeemable NFTs. So if you get certain NFTs and you redeem them by a certain date, you can get a physical Funko Pop for free from having collected that card or from having completed a set. They call it a royalty set. When you get all the commons, uncommons, rares, and epics of a particular series and you meet those date deadlines, you get a physical pop in the mail. And so there can be physical redemptions of that. And really, Funko is one of the first or most prominent people that have done that. Hot Wheels, I think, has a redeemable. There's a couple other NFTs, like Princess Bride, I believe. If you collected the set, you got a digital redeemable. And so they would drop something else digital on your wallet. But the physical ones are relatively new. And I think that is something that the individuals that can't afford a $15 million Bored Ape, which may go up in value, may go down in value, this is something that's very accessible to them. And why not? Who cares if it's a movie poster or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or a baseball card collection or a coin or stamp collection or a book collection or whatever it is. It's all about collecting is all a gamble. Things go up and down in value and you should derive joy from it. So in short, I know I've talked for a long time and I keep saying in short, but I get so riled up. When I say you do you, and when I say that I think people should enjoy what they're doing, so many people kind of poo-poo or, diminish the value of someone else's enjoyment or someone else's collection due to their own misunderstanding or their own personal bias. I find zero value in baseball cards, baseballs, and baseball autographs. I'm not a sports person. I find zero value in those. But I think if you like those things, that is an incredible collectible for you. And I think that you should collect that with the same vigor that I collect Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or animation cells, or the same vigor that somebody else collects stamps or coins. Just because you don't understand it, or it doesn't tickle your fancy, or it doesn't bring nostalgia to you, or it doesn't, give you some sort of enjoyment, just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it doesn't work for you. So in the same token, if you collect baseball autographs, don't be upset with somebody else who collects NFTs. Don't call it stupid. Don't call it not an appropriate collectible. Don't say that it's going to decrease in value. Well, your skanky, sweaty baseball might decrease in value too. And I don't even like the sport. But also it might be worth a lot of money. And who cares if it's worth anything if when you walk into your home and you see this baseball encapsulated in this little globe sitting on your mantle, and it gives you so much joy and pleasure, and you love showing it off to people, and you love describing how you got it, whether it be at a baseball game and you had somebody autograph it for you, or whether you got it off of a third-party auction site, but you're just so happy you were able to afford it because that was your parent or grandparent's favorite player, and you wanted to be more connected to that family member by sharing that passion with them. That's what it's all about. So it doesn't matter if you think something's good or bad. You have to look at it of whether or not you as an individual enjoy it and collect the things that you enjoy. And I always advise look at the investment piece of it secondarily. If you can just collect something to collect it, you have no expectations of making a profit, and if you make a dime over what you paid, you're gonna be thrilled. Assume that you've lost that money. When you go into a car lot and you purchase a car, it's depreciation in value immediately upon going off the lot. Assume that is the case with the collectibles that you purchase. If you don't want to go that deep, assume that you're gonna break even. And that's something that you can strive towards. You can say, I'm never gonna sell it unless I get the exact amount that I paid into it. And you can do that. You might be stuck with something for a while, or you might sell it immediately. And if something is sold at a higher price, it's icing on the cake. But make sure you derive enjoyment first and foremost from the collectible. And don't belittle other people for their collections. Let them collect what they want to collect. Again, I've spoken very negatively about baseball or football or those types of things. I don't collect those things. I'm not speaking negatively about the sport. I'm just saying I don't enjoy it. There's a lot of people that don't enjoy going to Broadway shows, and I do. There's a lot of people that don't like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because they were Motu fans or they think toys are silly. Let people enjoy their own enjoyment. Let people be happy in their own happiness. Anyway, that's my little rambling for today. Overall, NFTs, who cares? If it brings you joy, that's great. Just make sure that you can afford it. Don't buy into something that you cannot afford expecting a return, because that's just like gambling and that's a risk. Thanks for watching the Pop Art Hunter channel. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoy our other videos. I'm probably going to do some other things regarding NFTs eventually. Some of the more technical aspects of it. Maybe showcase some of my collection. And I've also been kind of buying and selling and doing auctions and stuff. And so maybe I'll get into some of the specifics of how that's done, because there are some great opportunities, I think, in this realm. Whatnot is an app that does a lot of auctions with Funko Pops and sneakers and all sorts of whatnot. That's what they call whatnot. But they just recently got into the NFT space, and that is really making it more accessible, even more so for the average consumer, not only for cost, but just for the ability to purchase it. You don't have to go through and buy cryptocurrency that's converted into wax and then use wax to purchase it on a third-party market and use that to put it in your wallet. Like, there's all this complexity to it that is removed. You pay $2 for an NFT on Whatnot, you get it for $2, it's put into your gallery, and you can view it. So there's a lot of stuff about that I think will make this more mainstream as we go along. Thanks for watching the Pop Art Hunter channel. Check out our other videos. It's not just me talking heads about stuff. We also have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as I mentioned. We also have book looks, we have movie posters, I have concept art, I have memorabilia, I have all sorts of other things, so check out those videos. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time right here on the Pop Art Hunter channel.